makes an incredible one-handed diving touchdown catch here.
He's having a tremendous season. I think it's going unnoticed because the team is so bad. But they found their #1 receiver. This guy is elite.
Maybe they found their quarterback.
Shout out to Drew Lock. Exactly. After being on IR at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, played a good game last night.
Their second-round pick gets his win in his first career start.
Dolphins and Eagles. Punter Matt Hawk getting the Eagles to bite, then flips it to the kicker, Jason Sanders, for the score.
The swinging gate. What's next, the fumble rookie or the old shoot screen? Come on, man. You practice this literally every week, ever since you're a kid. Yes. And they fell for the banana in the tailpipe.
I got to admit, Bart, when I saw this happen, my immediate reaction, because I didn't practice it every week growing up, was, well, that would work every time. It looks indefensible.
Hey, listen, I run this on my Little League team. Coaches don't know what to do when I go to my swinging gate offense.
All right, Browns and Steelers in a rematch of that ugly meeting 2 weeks ago. Cleveland jumped out to a 10-0 lead and then sputtered. Baker Mayfield struggled again. 18 of 32 for 196 yards with a touchdown and 2 turnovers. Steelers win 20-13. Sorry, Baker. Cleveland now 5-7 with playoff hopes all but gone. But the story of this game turned to something that happened off the field. Friday night, head coach Freddie Kitchens decided to wear a T-shirt that said Pittsburgh started it in reference to their brawl. Glad he doesn't want any distractions on his team. He was asked about the shirt after the loss.
I mean, listen, the T-shirt didn't have anything to do with us at the -1 moving out. I wore a T-shirt. I wore a jacket with it. My daughters wanted me to wear the shirt, and I'd wear it again. I'd put a jacket on. I covered it up. I took a picture with a fan. That was as simple as that, you know. T-shirt. I mean, T-shirt didn't cause us to give up 40-yard passes, and we were ready to play. That's the only thing people need to be concerned about. We were ready to play.
Did you feel it was disrespectful for a coach to be wearing something like that?
I'll leave it up to you guys, but I know our coach would have never done anything like that. Why throw gas? I know I said I want to answer, but when you do something like that, you throw your players in harm's way. He's not on the field.
I don't really have a comment for that. It's just a T-shirt. I've done much worse.
I'm sure he had. The truth is, the T-shirt in and of itself isn't the worst thing. The T-shirt is one of many things that has seemingly gone wrong for this team. Nick, what'd you make of Freddie Kitchens' comments after the game?
Well, he's 100% right that the T-shirt had nothing to do with what happened on Sunday. And the idea that, well, it gave the Steelers extra motivation. Man, 2 weeks ago, first of all, these teams are long-term rivals. Second of all, there was enormous playoff implications on the line. Third of all, 2 weeks ago, these two teams played, and one guy on the Browns bonked the quarterback on the Steelers on the head with his helmet. So, like, they were going to be at peak motivation for all of these reasons, no matter what. So the T-shirt had nothing to do with it. But that doesn't mean it's anything other than an idiotic decision. It's indefensible, and it's indicative of why the Browns are one of the very most disappointing underachieving teams in the league, and a team whose most important player, the one we saw at the very end, has had 2 enormous issues all year. One has been about ball security and just turning the ball over. That's on the field. And the other is off the field, which is taking accountability. Because the head coach doesn't want to take accountability. Bart, I'm sure your kids have gotten you either presents or shirts or something that, and I'm not as a public person as you are, but my daughters poke fun at me about the LeBron stuff because even at their age, they know this is something I poke fun at about. So I get almost every Christmas some LeBron versus Jordan clothing item. And I rarely get asked for pictures, but I'm not wearing that out of the house because of this exact concern. Yeah. And Freddie's saying my daughters gave it to me. Hey, bro, I saw the picture. You could have just left the jacket zipped all the way up. You know you're going to ask for pictures. Close your jacket then. You know this is coming. And this strikes me someone, Bart, that doesn't still fully understand the gravity of the position that they hold. Doesn't understand the importance of everything that goes along with being the face of a multi-billion-dollar organization, corporation, however you want to put it, because that is what he is. It's not apples to apples, but it's Elon Musk smoking weed on the radio. It's like it's not actually affecting the cars, but it's a terrible look for the face of your organization, and it shows me that your does he get it quotient is still wildly lacking.
He's in over his head, and he's been over his head all year. And the reason that he's the head coach of this football team is because Baker liked him. But he's a negative influence on him. And listen, you have to understand that when you're the head coach of a team, you're the CEO of that team. You're the voice of that team. You're reporting to the stock owners of that team. And you're sending a negative message. And was it fuel to the fire? Of course it was. Athletes are going to use anything for bulletin board material. Did it affect the outcome of the game? Maybe not. But then it's going to affect the team going forward, because now it's the topic of conversation that your players are going to have to answer questions for, your quarterback's going to have to answer questions for. And I don't need my head coach being the distraction.
It's insane.
I don't need my head coach being on the back pages, because we're not talking about the X's and O's. We're not talking about Baker and his turnovers. We're not talking about why you have a team that arguably has the best roster in football and they're underachieving. See, the Browns made a bad decision last year in deciding to go with Freddie Kitchens because he liked Baker Mayfield. You needed to hire the other coordinator who's showing that he can do more with less. Yeah, I understand that he has a stain on his record because of Bountygate. But if you look at, if you understand what Greg Williams is doing, what he's doing in New York with a team that's on their 3rd and 4th cornerback, that's on their 8th and 7th and 8th linebacker, has them in the top 5 in defense. Here you are, you have great pass rushers, great corners, first rounders all over the place, and they're underachieving because they have a lack of discipline, they have a lack of accountability to themselves. Not just the head coach in the organization, they don't have any accountability to themselves, and they're punching underneath their weight, not punching above their weight, and that falls right at the table of the head coach.
And somehow, some way, they had run 3 games in a row. So despite all of that, they were actually trending upwards. Baker was actually playing a little bit better, especially coming off that really ugly mess 2 weeks ago. And then you look at what happened yesterday, and it was all back to the same thing. It was play calling, it was penalties, it was a lack of 3rd down discipline. It was just all around futility. Why do you think the Browns lost the game yesterday?
It looked like you want to say
something. Because I'm going to need my franchise quarterback to be able to beat a 3rd string duck man off the bench. I'm going to need him to outplay him. And if you can't outplay the 3rd man, this is the best coaching job I've seen Mike Tomlin. This is best coach job.
Nothing.
He's coaching
no
his guys
Juju yesterday, no James Conner yesterday.
That's what good coaches do. And Freddie Kitchens may just be in over his head, and he may not have an opportunity to right the ship, because we know they have a quick trigger finger in Cleveland.
And this is something, Jenna, to answer your question. The 3 most disappointing teams that are relevant teams in the NFL this year are the Browns, the Cowboys, and Philadelphia.
Yep.
And there's going to be a theme of some of my commentary today on the show. All 3 of those teams were in a not must-win, but close, damn close. The Browns, it was a must-win game.
Sure.
And all 3 of them started off great. Dallas was up 7-0 on Buffalo before it all fell apart.
Which they never do.
Philly was up 10-0 and then 28-14 before it all fell apart. Cleveland was up 10-0 in this football game. 10-0 on a 3rd-string quarterback who you now are in the best possible position, because Pittsburgh does have a good defense. But if you can all of a sudden get out to an early lead and force them to become one-dimensional. And then all 3 of those teams, the better coached opposition, punched back, and they folded. And the most disappointing thing, aside from Freddie Kitchens' nonsense, because Freddie Kitchens won't be there next year, Baker will be, is they were down 20-13, and Duck Hodges threw a pick. And you had an opportunity then and there to all of a sudden make your stand. Not that dissimilar from opportunities they had early in the year, in whether it was the Rams game or games early in the year where they had multiple opportunities even though they hadn't played well. And what did Baker do? 3 and out for -8 yards. You get the ball back. He completes 1 pass for 5 yards and then throws an interception. Now, I know he hurt his hand at the end of the first half, and he didn't look like the exact same guy after that. But the problem for the Browns is, it is one thing to be a front-running team if you're constantly ahead. The team that I root for, the Chiefs, who I know we're going to talk about, they're a bit of front-runners. When things are going good for Kansas City, they look amazing. But they're ahead a lot, and so it can work out for them. When you're a team trying to establish yourself, if you're a front-running team, and you don't have a come-from-behind gear, it's going to look like that. And so, to me, the Freddie Kitchens stuff is the bigger story this week. The Baker stuff is the bigger story moving forward, because Baker's going to be there, Bart, for a long time. They certainly hope so.